Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Ecuador, the 2025 presidential runoff has begun, with an inaugural ceremony led by the National Electoral Council. Over 13.7 million Ecuadorians are heading to voting centers to exercise their right to vote. Incumbent President Daniel Noboa and opposition candidate Luisa González are contesting the presidency of Ecuador following a first round in which they got almost a tie. This election day in Ecuador is taking place within the framework of a state of exemption declared by the current administration due to the increase of violence in several provinces of the country. And in this context, we go live with our colleague Jorge Gestoso to bring us what we can expect in Ecuador's presidential runoff. Hi Gestoso, what can you share with us at this hour?
Alejandra, the polls open at 7 as expected, and there are 13,700,000 Ecuadorians that are asked to vote. The vote here is mandatory. The two candidates, the presidential candidate Daniel Noboa has already voted in the morning. He did it here in Quito, accompanied with his two girls. And the presidential candidate Luisa did so in her native Manabí province. Luisa González says before the opening of the polls that there were certain irregularities that she expressed their concern. Also, it has been very clear the concern of the largest organization of indigenous people, the CONAE, that the decree of state of emergency in 7 provinces of the country, including here, Quito, under the excuse, quote unquote, excuse of internal commotion. It was just a strategy because according to the CONAE, there's not such thing as especially new and improved violence. It's just business as usual. So therefore they say that that was done in order, as a strategy, in order to deter the possibility that people, electorals, people who were going to vote for Luisa González, because in some of those provinces and areas where historical Luisa González is very strong, that could be affecting her assistance to the polls. Polls are expected to close at 5, according to the Electoral National Council. Around 9 p.m. we could have a trend that could be, according to them, an irreversible trend. So who could be the winner? But there's a lot of question marks, and there's still a lot of incredibility that this is not a fair and clear election. The opposition had already said that the National Electoral Council is an arm of the presidential party of Daniel Noboa, and therefore they have question marks about the objectivity, about especially the transparency of these elections. We get back to you.
Thank you, Gestoso, for all the first-hand information. We will keep in contact for sure throughout the day. And after this contact with our colleague, let's speak now to Dr. Yvonne Tellez, international law expert. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you so much for your time hearing from the South.
Thank you, Alejandro, for the invitation.
Yvonne, earlier today, leftist candidate Luisa González made a call to defend democracy amid the country's application of a new state of emergency, imposing that no mobilizations will be allowed and also is limiting the presence of international observers in the country. What is at stake today in terms of security and democracy?
I think we are facing big challenges regarding democracy, because as Dr. Jorge Gestoso announced, this state of exception and this kind of environment that has been surrounding these polls has been marked but by some big question marks regarding how the electoral council is working, how the government is council, and how the running candidate and president is working, and in a way arranging all the forces, all the institutional forces around a poll that might or has a big popularity towards Luisa Gonzalez. But it seems like the institution itself, and I'm talking about the state, has been like moving towards some strategies that tend to limit, in a way, how the natural exercise of election has been or is supposed to work. So I think we are facing. I don't know if we can say so in that strong sense, but it seems that the transparency of the polls it's a stake. I mean, we can pose some questions because some unusual measures regarding the institutions, such as the state of exception declared yesterday, for example, I mean, they pose like big challenges regarding how people are going to vote. The fact that, for example, we cannot take our phones with us and the pictures of the vote, and some natural things that can happen with an election mark some kind of tendency towards like trying to make a I don't know, like to restrain some usual and natural liberties regarding this kind of exercise, democratic exercise. But and also what we're facing also is well, I don't know, a big chance of a big change regarding the way or the path that the country is going to follow. And I think that is what poses a big, in a way, scares a little bit the system in charge and the current government regarding the big changes that can and could happen within this day.
Regarding these big changes you mentioned, if elected, Luisa Gonzalez would become the first woman to become president of Ecuador's history. What would this mean for the country's progressive, social, and also leftist forces?
Well, definitely that will be something that we have to highlight, because not only she will be the first woman in power, but also it means that we will go back from this I don't know, this final years that we have been following. I'm talking about Ecuador. We have been following the right path, the right wing kind of government. We have been facing big restrictions and big in a way going back towards those social advancements that we had in the previous Rafael Correa's government. So I think that might mean that we go back to another view of state, hopefully a renewed social view of the state, also a different path regarding how social issues could come to the front in this case. And that will mean definitely a big step, I think, towards development and the path that we have been, in a way, losing in this previous years, because this state has been, and I'm talking about Ecuador, we have been not following what is stated in the Constitution, and that means that everything that has to do with the social, the economic sphere of the state has been abandoned, and that will be one of the structural reasons why we are facing so much problems and structural problems, even regarding, for example, security. So I think that will be a definite change, and hopefully we could see that. I don't know if things turn in a favorable way as we are expecting.
Thank you, Juan, very much for your time hearing from the South.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, for the invitation.
We were speaking to Dr. Yvonne Telles, international law expert, in the context of the runoff elections that are taking place in the country. In this context, let's also share some information regarding the candidates. Luisa Gonzalez is a 47-year-old lawyer and former assemblywoman who is seeking the presidency of Ecuador in the elections to be held this April 13th, supported by polls that place her as one of the electorate's favorites. Let's see more. Luisa Gonzalez is a lawyer and holds 2 master's degrees in senior management from the Institute of High National Studies and in international economics from the Complutense University of Madrid. As a member of the Citizens' Revolution movement, she participated in the early elections of 2023. Her government plan focuses on 5 axes: justice for good living, security and order, economic well-being with equal opportunities, the fight against corruption, ecological justice and energy transition for a clean and sustainable future. She has expressed her commitment to the real needs of the people, to generate decent employment, to guarantee access to health education, scholarships and credits, to activate youth entrepreneurship. If she wins the elections, Gonzalez would become the first woman to become president of Ecuador, presenting progressive, social and leftist forces. On the other hand, Daniel Noboa is betting that his promises to push forward the anti-crime initiatives began during his first administration and to address energy shortages will ensure his re-election. Daniel Noboa Sin, current president of Ecuador, is the son of multimillionaire Álvaro Noboa Pontón. As president, he has used presidential decrees to militarize the streets and to facilitate the security of businessmen in the ports. Nevertheless, his administration has been marked by a multidimensional crisis with economic recession, high levels of insecurity, energy and political deficit. He opts for re-election, violating constitutional status and failing to comply with the electoral regulations to participate in these elections. In a desperate measure, Noboa militarized the northern and southern borders in the middle of the electoral campaign under the pretext of combating armed groups. Ecuadorian presidential candidate Luisa Gonzalez exercised her right to vote in the parish of Canuto Manabí. The presidential candidate for the Citizens' Revolution Party pointed out that she will pay attention together with the other political parties at the polling centers to guarantee that everything goes smoothly. However, Gonzalez denounced certain irregularities and incidents in the electoral operation and noted that she will take heed to ensure that democracy is guaranteed in the country. Meanwhile, she called on the public forces, the national police and the armed forces not to intervene either in favor or against any political party, but to guarantee the security of the citizens.
We are going to be expectant of how the elections develop today, but also ready to defend democracy. This state of exception violates a mandate of the Constitutional Court and violates our rights. They decree a state of exception while the political parties are united in the computation centers receiving the minutes. And they say that no mobilization is allowed. So we will be waiting for democracy to be guaranteed. And I call upon the public forces, the national police and the armed forces not to intervene for or against, but to guarantee democracy properly. Not to intervene in the counting of votes at the polls, but to guarantee the security of the Ecuadorian people, that is all.
And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Venezuelan Supreme Court of Justice, TSJ, ratified the constitutionality of Decree number 5118, by means of which President Nicolás Maduro declared a state of economic emergency throughout the national territory. This decision is based on Article 339 of the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which allows the executive to take exceptional measures in the face of extraordinary circumstances that seriously affect the economic or social life of the country, such as the economic challenges derived from international sanctions and tariffs imposed by the United States. The ratification by the TSJ empowers the Venezuelan government to advance in policies aimed at protecting the fundamental rights of citizens and promoting collective welfare. U.S. citizens panic by following new tariff measures imposed by Donald Trump's administration. President Trump detailed that the acquisition of products not produced in the country will have a 23% increase, especially vegetables, coffee, and other food items. In this sense, experts affirm that some consumers could be buying and stockpiling articles due to uncertainty of the tariff impact in the country. These measures applied by the United States against most of the world are causing fear among the U.S. population due to a possible wave of price increases. Tens of thousands of people from Serbia, Bosnia and Kosovo mobilized for 3 consecutive days in support of the Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. During the first 2 days of mobilizations in Belgrade, demonstrators supported the president under the slogan "Do not surrender Serbia," organized in response to attempts to destabilize the country and in rejection of foreign interference. Meanwhile, President Vučić urged the institutions to restore peace and order in the country. He also asked to legally hold accountable all those involved in acts of vandalism and attacks against citizens during the riots promoted by opposition sectors in the last few months. Israeli forces shelled at Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in Gaza City on Sunday, leaving the facility entirely out of service. According to local media, 2 missiles launched by Israeli aircraft hit the hospital's main building, causing massive destruction and setting fires in critical departments of the health center, including the emergency room, laboratory and pharmacy. The forced evacuation left many patients without access to emergency medical care. Al-Ali Baptist Hospital serves more than 1 million residents in Gaza City and the northern district of Gaza. Its destruction represents a major blow to Gaza's already collapsing healthcare system, which has been under Israeli siege since the start of Israel's genocidal operation. Since October 2023, at least 34 hospitals in Gaza have been destroyed and forced to close, in addition to dozens of health centers and clinics. The United States intensifies aggressions against Yemen with new bombings against the Technical Institute in the province of Al-Baida in the southwest of the country. This is aimed at dissuading Sana'a from supporting Palestine. The educational establishment was the target of at least 5 airstrikes in a new escalation of violence against the country. However, humanitarian organizations have repeatedly warned that these attacks usually leave civilian victims and destroy vital infrastructure in a country already devastated by a decade of war and blockade. Meanwhile, the Ansarullah movement has reiterated its right to defend itself against the continuous aggressions, demanding the immediate cessation of foreign interference in the internal affairs of the country. Likewise, it reaffirms its support to the Palestinian people and rejects the genocidal actions of Israel. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.